We have some Goldbacks. Now, if you guys haven't seen it, I actually did a video review of these just the other day where I went through and did my pluses and minuses of the Goldback. Now, one of the things that I noted in that video is that the people that don't trust in these things are going to have a very hard time testing them and verifying that there's really gold in here. For example, this big one right here is supposed to have 1/20th of an ounce of gold, which is around $90 in gold today. But if you don't believe in these things, but you're wanting to barter gold and silver, how are you going to know that what says is in here is really in here if you can't even test it? And they are really hard to test. So what we're going to do today is see if we can get these Goldbacks to pass even one of the gold tests that I use for other types of gold in this $1 one right here. In fact, we're actually going to cut apart this one Goldback in today's video, and we're even going to burn it, at least part of it. Don't worry, I do have precautions in place, including a fire extinguisher, which is ready to go, nice in the green. You can see it kind of keys out with the green screen there, but it's ready to go. All the safety precautions are in place, but that's what we're going to do today. We are going to cut apart this thing right here into multiple pieces, and we're going to try and test it out and see if we can get it to pass any of the metal tests that I have at hand. All right, guys, let's get into it. But before we do, if you are new here, we are so close to 50,000 subscribers. So do me a favor, make sure you go down below and make sure you're subscribed. More than 50% of the people that watch this channel actually are not. They may not even know it. So help us out. It's free and it's easy. Additionally, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching my videos. Now let's get into it. Okay, so we have our Goldbacks in front of us, and like I said, we're going to try and see if we can get one of these to pass the test. Of course, we don't need them all, and I don't want to destroy them all, because the truth is, I do really believe that the gold is here. That's not really the question. The question, like I said, is how easy is it going to be to convince somebody that doesn't know about these or doesn't trust in them to know that there really is 1/1000th of an ounce of gold right here, or for example, with the 50 Goldback, a 1/20th of a troy ounce, which again, this has $90 worth of gold in it at today's rate. So it's not about convincing me, it's about how do we convince others. So we're going to use a number of testing methods on this, everything that I have at hand. Now keep in mind, I am not Tips. In fact, I had a lot of people comment about Tips in my previous video when I said we were going to be doing this video. I know who Tips is very, very well. He probably doesn't know who I am. That being said, if Tips ever wants to reach out to me, I would love to send him some of these and see if he can refine them. I would absolutely love to do that. So if you guys know how to get a hold of Tips, or maybe just tell him to watch this video, I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email, silverseeker@coolstacks.com. There will be an email address in the description. And again, I'd love to hear from him. I'd happily send him some just to get that video done. So anyway, we're going to do what I have at hand because I'm not as scientific as Tips is, not even close. But here's what we're going to do today. Of course, look at that. We are going to put a magnet on it, which we knew it wasn't going to be magnetic. So that's why we just did it now. We're going to weigh it and see how close it weighs to the 1/1000th of a troy ounce. We'll probably use the 50 for that. But because there's lamination on these things, likely it's going to weigh more than 1/20th of a troy ounce. So that is unfortunate. Of course, we are also going to cut this into multiple pieces to test with, and we are going to burn one of them with our blowtorch. There you go. So we are going to do that. We are also going to use an acid test. So I will try and scrape some of the lamination off of one of these Goldbacks, and then we're going to put some acid on it and see how it reacts to gold acid. This acid right here is a mixture of muriatic and nitric acids, I believe, and this is to test up to 22 karat gold. If it's even 18 karat, it would fail this test. It has to be 22 or more pure than 22. And then the final thing is something I haven't shown on the channel. This is my key gold tester. Now, the key gold tester is generally used to test gold jewelry. So for example, you can see we have a line for 14 karat, 10 karat, 18, 22 to 24, and of course, platinum. So I'll show you how this thing works before we use it. I'll probably use my wedding ring as an example, but this thing is very, very accurate. It uses, I guess, the electrical conductivity to see how conductive the metal is to be able to determine how pure of the gold is. So that's what we're going to do with all of these today. We're going to see if we can get it to pass any of these tests. And what's unfortunate is if we do, like let's say we get it to pass one of the acid tests, of course we're going to damage it, right? So it's going to be unfortunate because to test one of these for a naysayer, you're going to have to damage the Goldback. That's unfortunate. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Let's get started on the testing. Okay, before we even get to the testing, let's do the weight. So we have a 50 Goldback here, which as you know is 1/20th of a troy ounce of gold. How much does the note itself actually weigh though? Is it more than a 20th of an ounce? I'm sure it is, but how much more? Here we go. Wow, so we have 0.148. So it's almost a tenth of a troy ounce heavier than the gold itself, because 1/20th of an ounce of gold would be 0.05 OZT. So yeah, right now we actually have, it looks like only 1/3 of the weight is actually the gold that's in this note, and the rest for the 50 is the lamination. All right, so let's start testing these things and see if we can get them to pass any of our gold tests. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a bunch of samples. And the reason we're going to do this is because if we damage one part of it, you know, we don't want to ruin the whole bill on one test, because I don't want to damage a bunch of these, just one. So if you guys have weak stomachs, don't watch this, because cutting into this thing, they are beautiful. I'll give them that. Premium, like I said in the other video, way too high. But they are beautiful, and I love the idea and concept. Oh, man. Boy, it cuts pretty easily. It feels a lot like paper, a little bit strong paper. When you hit, it feels like there's certain parts that cut a little bit harder, like probably where the color is here. So here we go. We're cutting through it. That is 3. Like we're cutting a very thin metal, like aluminum foil almost. 4 and 5. All right, and then we'll take one of these, and we'll cut this in half into 2 pieces. All right. I'm sorry you guys had to watch that. It was brutal for me to do, as it was for you to watch. So we already know it's not magnetic, so let's go ahead and see what we can do. We're going to put some acid directly on this and see if maybe it eats away the lamination. If it doesn't, then we're going to try and scratch through the lamination and then add the gold to it as well. All right, let's get the acid and do it. All right, so this acid is really strong, so if you hear a background noise, I apologize. That's the fan that I turned on, making sure that there's good ventilation, because you don't want to be just breathing this stuff in directly. All right, so we're going to put it directly onto it and see what happens. Here we go. All right, let's get it close. I don't know if that's... It does look like it's doing something. If you look around the edges, it's possible it's eating through the lamination there. We're going to give it some time to see what happens. Let's give it about 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right, so it's been about 1 minute, and it looks like nothing has changed since putting the original droplet on. So we'll grab a napkin and just kind of wipe it off and see what we have there. And it looks like it didn't do anything at all to the lamination, actually. So maybe that was just the way the light was reflecting. If you look there, nothing at all has changed. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I don't know if it got through the lamination or what happened there. So the next thing we'll do is we'll try and scrape into it and then see if we can test under the lamination. All right, here we go. We're just gonna kind of scrape into our sample here. So yeah, you can see we are getting the lamination off. Take a look at that right there on the end of the knife. We do have the lamination coming off. So that is really good. We are actually getting access directly to the gold, which probably is going to bode well for the key tester as well. All right, let's go ahead and drop some acid on the direct gold. See what happens here. And yes, if you're wondering, I did cut my glove with the knife. That did happen. At least it wasn't me. So if you notice, we have that dark yellow ring around the edge as well. So it appears that's just the way that the light is going through it, and right at the edge, it's just making it a darker color. So the really good news is even through the lamination, it did in fact pass our acid test. It looks like, at least to me. Well, I don't know. We wiped the acid off, and I don't know if I just scraped too hard or what's going on there. Let's try that again. All right. Okay, so we did some more scraping. You can see we scraped the lamination back right here above my finger. We'll go ahead and wipe it, and it doesn't look like we've removed any of the gold, very little at least. But let's go ahead and do the acid one more time. The thing is it didn't turn green, which is what you really expect to happen, or just to completely disappear right off the bat. Like, you would expect the acid to completely eat through this, and that is in fact not what it's doing. So I'm thinking what happened is when we wiped it, we wiped away some of the gold with it. Yeah, you can see it getting under the lamination there. Right there, you see that color change? So, in my opinion, I think it is absolutely passing our acid test, which is really good. I'm very pleased to see that. So the next thing I want to do is actually put this to a flame and see what happens when you burn it up, and see if it burns up, if the lamination melts off, if it leaves the gold. Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna take our other pieces out. We don't want to mess with those. We may as well keep working on the piece that we were just working on, shouldn't we? All right, so we got it in the bowl. So we got my little blowtorch out, and here we go. So I definitely smell plastic. You know what melting plastic smells like. And I covered it with my hand while it was burning because, to be honest with you, I didn't want the flame to come up and hit the lens of my camera. So very interesting what happened here. It definitely melted into, I mean, the gold's still there. Like, so we definitely still have some gold here. And, you know, you can feel some of the lamination melted away, but there's definitely gold in that flake right there. It's kind of cool, actually. See if we can see that. There's still lamination right there. Don't tell Mrs. Seeker I did this to one of her bowls, by the way. Please. Hopefully she won't watch the video. All right. So the gold is definitely remaining even after the lamination is melted. So as you can see, we do have a little bit of gold there. That's actually cool. Let's see what happens if we drop the acid on this gold. What do we think? All right, 22 karat acid being added to the melted. Well, we won't call it melted, but to what's left. All right, there's not a whole lot going on there. It's really not doing anything. So, in my opinion, I think this is already kind of passed. Like I said at the beginning of the video, oh my goodness. Don't tell my wife. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I believe wholeheartedly that these really do have what they say they have with the amount of gold that's in each one of them. So I wasn't super concerned that it wasn't going to pass, but since we already have it out, and you guys are probably wondering how the key gold tester works, I'm going to show you, and we're going to try and pass one of these on the key gold tester. Now, what would be great is if the key actually passed one of these with the lamination on it, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's go ahead and do it and see what happens. Okay, so we got our key gold tester in front of us, and basically how it works is, as you can see, it tests the different carats, and it tests the electrical conductivity to figure out what the carat of the gold is. And we have this cable that connects it with these two end caps on. And the most important thing is you have the wand or the pen. This is the key gold testing pen. And it does have this little tip right here. Now this tip actually is wet, so it has a chemical on it, I guess, a solution, whatever. But it's very important that you don't let this dry out if you own one of these, because if this is a dry tip, it's not going to work. So how it works, basically, we took the caps off already. We're going to plug it in. We're going to plug the other end into the wand. And then if you look here, there's this little ring that's actually on the wire. That's actually an 18 karat gold ring. So we're going to use that to calibrate it. So we'll take the cap off, turn it on, and then we're going to put it on the tester. And as you can see, it's really close to the 18 karat. So we have this little wheel right here that we can turn just a little bit to get it right centered on 18 karat. Oops, because we know that this is an 18 karat little ring. All right, looks good. So the tester is 100% calibrated and ready to go. And to test it, we're going to use my wedding ring. My wedding ring is 14 karat white gold. So here we go. Oops. Yeah, and as you can see, my wedding ring is testing out exactly what it's supposed to be. If you look at this, even standing up like this, where the tip's all the way on the top, it's going all the way through the ring to the bottom, like that. And it's testing it no problem. If you put it directly on there, if you notice, it's like it must be platinum because it's perfect conductivity. So that's how it works. So the first thing we want to do is test and see if we can get this thing to test at all with the lamination. Here we go. Nothing. So the lamination, which we expected because it's plastic doesn't conduct electricity, instantly failed. So let's go ahead and put the cap on for a minute. I'm going to take a second to scrape some of the lamination off, and then we're going to test it with the lamination scraped off. Let's do it. Okay, so I've done my absolute best to remove lamination from the same spot on both sides. It does feel very scratchy and metally on both sides, so I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we're going to try it. Here we go. I'm trying every little spot that I worked on, and yeah, we can't. There's no response out of the tester at all. So clearly we didn't get all the way through it. All right, let's give it a little bit more work and see if I can do it again. Okay, so I tried a little bit more to get this off. We are definitely through, I think, at least some of the lamination here. Like I feel actual metal. So let's go ahead and just try one more time. And then if that doesn't work, in fact, you can see I'm peeling lamination up here. If that doesn't work, then the next thing we'll do is try and burn some of the lamination off and see if we can get it to test. Nope. And just to confirm that it is still working, yes, it is still working. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take our lighter again, and we're just going to try and burn the lamination off of both sides and see what happens. All right, so let's do it. Let's hope I don't burn myself up here. All right. Woo! That just melts so quick. Like, I don't think that's going to work because it rolls up like foil. See that? Yeah, let's... Whew, gosh, that smell. It's not what you want to be breathing in, just like the acid. Ow, and it's hot. All right, you guys are probably laughing at me right now, but I really am trying to get this to test on the key. Oh, no. All right, well, if this doesn't work, we'll have something to talk about anyway. All right, here we go. And, yeah, nothing. Kinda. We almost had a reaction right there. But it may be just because the tip is hitting more of the base. Yeah, because the tip's really just hitting the base. See? Yeah, I think... Well, we tried. So, unfortunately, we were unable to get this to test properly on the key gold tester. And even though we did technically get it to pass the acid test, we had to basically melt the lamination and or scrape off the lamination to even get it to test. And so even though we do know that these are real, we know there's the gold in here that they say they are, if you ever talk to somebody who's a naysayer who says, look, I don't know what that is, there's no way I can trust it, what are you going to tell them? Oh, you just have to believe it. And that's the problem with this that isn't a problem with like a gold eagle or even a 1/10 ounce gold eagle, where they are very, very easy to test. So that is a huge drawback for the Goldback for me. Again, I think they're really cool. I don't mind having the ones I have for a collection. And I don't know, maybe in the future, if I can find some cheap, like on a discount or something, I might pick up more just as a collection piece. But again, I never consider these something that I would ever stack, just something cool to have. Hey everybody, a really quick piece of bonus content here. If you guys don't recall, we actually had these 1/10 of a gram Karatpay notes that we talked about, I believe, early 2020. And in fact, in each one of these, there's supposed to be a little 1/10 of a gram gold bar. So what the heck? Why don't we test those on the key gold tester while we're sitting here and see if these actually pass as well? So we'll actually cut one of these out and get the 1/10 of a gram bar out of this holder, if you want to call it that, but out of the note, and see if it is testable either. All right, let's cut this out. Make sure we don't nick any of the edges. And there is our gold. All right. So let's see if we can get this out of here. It feels like almost enclosed in the plastic. Maybe we actually have to get right on the gold. Okay, here we go. So if you take a look here, we actually are getting access to the gold bar itself. All right, so we got the one side of the plastic off. Let's take a look at the other side. The other side feels a little bit harder. Yeah, the other side is definitely a bit tougher. So it's definitely glued to that back plastic piece here. Let's get that. Oh, there we go. Take a look. All right, so we actually got, there's a little bit of residue, but we actually have the 1/10 of a gram gold bar out of it. So, yeah, let's go ahead and clean off the residue and then test this thing. Okay, I have the residue basically cleaned off. I got the keys wand plug-in as well. All right, here we go. And take a look at that. It is testing. Let's get that focused. It is testing in the 22 to 24 karat range. So we know that our Karatpay 1/10 of a gram is real gold. Does it weigh 1/10 of a gram? Here we go. Let's turn this on. Now this is an AccuWeight scale. This thing is very accurate. And let's get it on. We're going to put it on and see if it will actually test. Grams. So it will test 1/10 of a gram, 0.00 grams. Here we go. Bingo. So the Karatpay note actually does have a testable piece of 1/10 of a gram gold in the center. So very interesting that you can actually take this out. It is its own gold bar. It does weigh 1/10 of a gram. If you notice, it actually came up 0.11 grams, and that's probably just because of the residue that was actually sticking this to the back of the Karatpay note. But we do, in fact, have a 1/10 of 1 gram 4/9 gold bar as verified by our key tester. And again, I really love the Goldbacks. I think they're beautiful. But this Karatpay note, if it's somebody who doesn't believe you, let's say you have 10 of these and you have a gram of gold that you want to use, if they don't trust it, they can actually take it out, or you can take it out for them and actually get out the 4/9 gold, and it's testable gold. So that is definitely a play on just keeping your gold into one nice piece instead of turning it into a big piece of art. So anyway, just a little bit of bonus content. Thought you guys would enjoy that. Thank you so much for watching.